Welcome to the MobiGuide demo. MobiGuide is a European project in which 13 members are participating. The MobiGuide project delivers a distributed decision support system that provides secure and personalized decision support to patients and their care providers. The decision support is based on clinical guidelines that are represented in computer interpretable guideline format. A decision support system that consists of a back-end system and a mobile system interacts with this guideline knowledge and crosses it with patient-specific information that is collected from hospital medical record and from sensors, and delivers the advice to patients and to their care providers. In this demo, I will demonstrate the atrial fibrillation applications that we've developed. I will demonstrate it in terms of the end users, the care providers, and the patients. So now I will go and log in as a doctor, John Smith. Again. The doctor now sees the list of patients. I will select the third patient here, Eros Ramazzotti, and you will be able to see his demographic information for verification. I can also enroll new patients and then activate the guideline and receive a username and activation code to the body area network of the patient, which consists of the smartphone and the sensors. But in this demo, I will not enroll a patient, but will show you some information about it. For example, I can visualize the personal context, which can be routine, semi-routine, or increased physical activity, and will show you what it means to have, to define a personal context for the patient. So here you can see that in the routine days, when the patient is in his regular environment, these are his meal times, and reminders are associated with these meal times, and they happen 5 minutes before the time of the meals. We have different plans that need to be activated either 3 times a day, 3 times a week, twice a week, or once a week, so the patient can indicate the preferred days, and he can indicate the amount of family support that he is receiving. He also indicates what kind of events are associated with this context. So the routine context is associated for him with the regular patient context. We can also see from the doctor's interface the details of the atrial fibrillation, and the clinical history, prescriptions, and measurements. I will now start a visit and get a guideline assistant. And after I press this button, I get here a summary of the history of the patient. The diagnosis is paroxysmal atrial fibrillation, and the patient is on Coumadin that has been activated for quite some time, over 3 weeks ago. I will save this information, which will take me to the next screen. Here I can define the goal of this visit: rhythm control with cardioversion. Therapy location is at home, and the patient is eligible for a protocol in which he can take an emergency kind of pill that handles the atrial fibrillation episodes. Now I will start the guideline assistance. What happens now is that I have we have encoded in computer interpretable guideline format the atrial fibrillation guideline, and this is the part about cardioversion advice. You can see here there is a decision regarding the diagnosis of atrial fibrillation. It is not permanent for our patient. It is paroxysmal, so we go here to the left and collect already one advice that the doctor will see. Electrical cardioversion is contraindicated in patients with digitalis toxicity or hyperkalemia. Next, there is a question about the clinical history. Is there pre-excitation syndrome? And there is no. We saw the summary before. So we will collect this second advice. And then I'm actually at this step where I started the visit with the goal of rhythm control and of cardioversion. And so in this question, what is the visit objective? It is rhythm control with cardioversion, and I move to the cardioversion guideline. Here I collect a third advice in two parts: direct current cardioversion and patient preference, etc. And the system will then look to see if there is a scheduled cardioversion. If there is none, we need to schedule it, depending if the patient is already on anticoagulant. And we saw he is on Coumadin. And the Coumadin has been taken for more than 3 weeks. So after I will answer, I will indicate that I want to schedule cardioversion, and these will be checked. We will get some more advice about scheduling pharmacological cardioversion. So let me show you how this works. We'll go back to the patient, to the guideline assistance, and I will show the list of recommendations. This takes a little while because the system is communicated with the back-end server. And now you see that there are 4 recommendations corresponding to number 1 through 4 in the slides of the flowchart that I've shown you before. So you see 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 4th has a question: which type of cardioversion would you like to specify? And there are no values indicated yet. So I will now press on the I button and can choose either electrical or pharmacological. I will choose pharmacological cardioversion. This, in the meantime, I will show you what happens next. So if I chose cardioversion to be pharmacological, I will go to the next part of the flowchart, which will deliver these last recommendation. Recommendation 5 in 2 parts and recommendation 6. So now I will update. I'm clicking on the update button, and I should receive these last 2 recommendations. Here they are. So this is number 5 and this is number 6, and it is asking me to schedule pharmacological cardioversion. And I can click either the accept or the discard option. Now I would like to show you how things look like from the patient perspective. So this is the same patient, Eros Ramazzotti, and I will now put the PIN code. And you will now see the screen of MobiGuide. The data is uploaded. And then you will see the opening screen of MobiGuide, which you can see here in the background. We use almost the same user interface for different clinical domains. This user interface is for the atrial fibrillation domain, and it has 6 different options. I will show you the different options that are here. One of them is to record symptoms of palpitation. A patient with atrial fibrillation may experience episodes of atrial fibrillation, and in that case he can report them by pressing on the green smiley, and then he can report that his palpitations are unacceptable. In this case, the system will inform him that there is a message waiting for him right here on the bottom, And when you click on it, you can see advice in Italian because our center is in Pavia, Italy. And he can answer whether he took his emergency pill for these atrial fibrillation events. If he has not, then he will receive another recommendation. And in this recommendation, he will be advised to start the atrial fibrillation monitoring. The advice says that he should wear the sensor belt. Let me show you how this belt looks like. It looks like something like this, and this is the sensor. So if the patient will click on the start button, he can go into a session of measuring for 30 minutes his ECG, and from this the system will detect if there is an atrial fibrillation event. I will keep this running and will show you some more options of the system. For example, there is the logbook, and in the logbook we can record different types of data, like the symptoms, the diet, the blood pressure, exercise, weight, INR, events, and surveys. For example, if we look at blood pressure and I click on the plus button, I can enter the patient's blood pressure. Suppose I want to say 120/80, but notice that on purpose I put a value that is too high, 800. The quality of data broker, which is a component of the system, should find out that there is a problem with the data quality of this 800. And now I received a message again asking me to recheck and, if needed, re-enter those values. We want to keep all the values that the patient enters into the system, and if needed, we can correct these values. So now I will enter 120/80. There is, of course, an option to connect a sensor, a sensor that will measure and input the blood pressure directly. I didn't fill this out. Okay, but in this case I wanted to demo the manual input. Now I can go back to the atrial fibrillation monitoring. It's already going for almost 2 minutes, so I will stop it. And the system will ask me to turn off the bioharness belt so I don't forget. I got now a recommendation that says that I haven't been measuring for enough time, but we knew that. This is only for this demo. Maybe my favorite part of this these 6 different options that you can do is the exercise. Before starting the exercise, the belt needs to be on because we want to monitor that the patient is not having any problems with his heart during the exercise. When I start this exercise session and I can start walking or even running, you can see that the system will start measuring the steps that I'm doing and my heart rate. You can see I've already taken 34 steps and my heart rate is going high. In the middle, you can see that I'm exercising at moderate high speed now. If I will try to exercise harder, you will hear that I'm going into an even higher mode. And if I will stop exercising or exercise less vigorously, the system will show that I'm exercising less. And these sessions are recorded and can then be seen by the patient or by his care provider or her care provider. So I will now, I press stop and you can see a summary of my exercise session. Don't forget to switch off the bioharness belt. And I would like to show you through the setting menu how the patient can view his different types of context. Here it is the regular, and I can also look at the preference for the holiday or the